How's it going, everyone? WTFSexyHeadphones here. Happy Tuesdays or Wednesdays to you guys. I had today off, so I figured it'd be just another time for a Tuesday vlog, and you guys should be getting used to Tuesday vlogs. Enough by now, I would say. Anyway, not a whole lot to talk about as of right now. I finally finished... Oh, let me grab it. I thought it was closer. I finally finished Voices from Chernobyl, which I told you guys about that I started reading quite some time ago, and I think I gave you just a little bit of a mini review, but I've been meaning to tell you guys the remainder of it or my thoughts on it. Now that I've finished it, and again, I'm pretty sure I covered just about my whole feelings on it. Oddly enough, I feel kind of like an asshole, but I enjoyed all that solid melts into air a little better, but I think it's just because it gets you engrossed into the same characters, and it gets you more caught up in their lives and things that are going on, so when something happens a little bit more dramatically, now granted the whole entire book's dramatic, space about around the Chernobyl disaster, but it kind of pulls out those feelings more, and it's really interesting because a lot of the way that they talked about the Chernobyl disaster was, I feel like, not so much an emotional aspect as it was just a matter of fact, this is how it is, this is what life was, and this is what we dealt with, and they're kind of two, depending on the person now, mind you, because they're hundreds of different stories of different people in this book, and some obviously had vastly different experiences than others. But there's a lot of them that were just kind of like very matter of fact about it, like, yeah, this is what happened, this is what we did, yada yada, blah 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 blah. And so while it's cool to read, mind you, it's very cool to read. I like when novels and things invoke emotions in me, or provoke emotions rather. And again, I feel like a dick saying that because it's based off of a fucking terrible disaster. So I feel kind of like an asshole being like, yeah, I read these stories and I didn't get emotional. So it's kind of like, eh. Like I'm not trying to, I mean, how to put it? I probably sound like such an asshole right now. I just enjoy a more written out, following a 1 to 2 to 3 type of character story. It's easier for me to kind of follow and get more engrossed than reading, like, you know, say, I just kind of have like a page placeholder. Like, I don't know if you can see, each of these little paragraphs are tiny, different little stories, just really quick, like, what was your first thoughts on the event, or yada yada, or what did you recognize, and so on and so forth. So, as cool it is to read that, and to read like, oh, so this is kind of what this person first knows, and this one, and so on and so forth, and yada yada, it doesn't make me emotional, you know. I like a book that makes me emotional, and be like, oh, I just feel like crying. And it's really funny because my friend had a completely different experience with this. She was like, you're gonna have to read this books in like strides, because you're gonna get like be crying and be so emotional about it, and you're gonna feel so terrible and blah blah blah. And I feel like an asshole because I read this whole book and I'm just like stone-faced the whole time, like, not saying that I'm not amused. As I said, everything is very interesting. It's very interesting to read first account stories, especially one of the things that I loved reading about the most in this book is how much the people trusted the party, how many people trusted the whole Soviet communist type of nation kind of mentality here, where they literally were just like, well, no one told us anything was going on, we totally trust them. And then like literally the scientists and the people who know what's going on, it's just so crazy that these people are literally like professors and professionals and leaders in these types of professions, like nuclear sciences and these type of studies and this and that and blah blah blah, and no one fucking believes them just because they're like, well, the TV and radio didn't say so, and you're just scaring people, and the party's gonna come after you, you need to not talk about these things, like, you're crazy. And that is one of the things that I thought was the coolest about the whole entire book, was it was so interesting just to read how much the people in Ukraine believed in their leaders, believed in the party, and believed in their nation, that they were rather ignorant to the whole thing. And again, it's just crazy because you read these, a lot of these stories have nuclear scientists and doctors and things like that who obviously have a great education in this type of field, and they're just kind of like, what the fuck's going on? There's kids sunbathing outside under a nuclear cloud, and they're eating the food from the fields and blah blah blah, and then they try to tell and warn people, and they just kind of look at them like they're crazy. Well, like, well, the government didn't tell us anything, so, and they try and explain, like, this is who I am, this is my profession, like, I know what's going on, I know what radiation is, and they just kind of had no idea. They thought that the atom was like the new way into the world, and that it was like flawless and nothing could happen. So that what I think was the coolest aspect I got out of it, was really interesting to read the mentality of the people there, and how I feel, and how these you know, these people who are in these huge professional fields that understand what radiation does and how it affects people, trying so desperately to get anyone to pay attention to them and be like, I'm telling you, get your kids out of here, get these people out of here, like, what are you fucking doing, like, you don't understand, like, let me tell you, this is my profession, this is what happens, like, you may not see it, you may not feel it, but it is there. So that was the part that I think is the coolest. As I said, I would definitely recommend reading it. It's really cool to see all these different types of perspectives, how people handled things, and kind of the sides of the people who know what's going on and the sides of the people who are just believed so much in their society and government and things like that they just like, they're just like, nope, everything's fine. So it's really interesting. I liked it a lot, but I think I liked All That Solid That Melts Into Air is better, but you know, to each their own. They both have very interesting perspectives, and it's great to get first-person perspectives of people who were there. So it's really neat. So that's all I got to say on that. Other than that, a lot of you guys have asked me to... what did you guys ask me to do? I read a lot of comments. I'm totally spacing out. Anyway, a lot of you guys have asked me to record building my computer. I'm going to start doing that soon. I've been kind of slow on it just due to the fact that I'm kind of like... my friend can't buy this current one just yet. He's going to in about 2 weeks or so. So I was kind of like, well, there's no point of getting it assembled just yet, especially because I've been really lazy about saving all my files and I haven't done that yet. So I was like, well, I want to go through my computer, clear stuff out, and start saving things before doing that. And I just been kind of dragging my feet because I was kind of like, oh, it's not imminent that I do it now, which a lot of you guys find fucking crazy. I have a lot of people who are like, how the fuck have you not like tore all those boxes apart and built it yet? Apparently I'm a patient person, so I guess I'm just patient. I'm just kind of like, don't worry, like it will come. Like I've waited years for my next build. I can wait like a couple more days or week or whatever. So apparently I'm like creepily patient to some of my friends because they're like, literally, I would come over and build that for you. And I'm just like, relax, man, it's gonna happen. Just chill. It's gonna happen, I promise you. Oh, other than that, hold on, let me just, Jesus, stop. Okay, I'm back. Other than that, I finished my first pillowcase. I know I promised you guys that I would try and record some of the shenanigans, but my sister was home and we were watching 13 Hours and it's a badass movie, and I was like, I just kind of want to watch this badass movie and slowly try to figure out what I'm doing, so I did not record. I apologize. But here's the end result. So this is my tri-seam pillowcase. Tri-seam essentially meaning you got 1, 2, 3 colors here. It came out relatively well. It's not perfect. I don't know how well you guys can see, but like the seam is really fucked up. I was trying to do something called a French seam, and I sewed too close in. And so since I did that, like the inner seam or whatever, I don't know how to describe it, it did not get sewn in properly, so it's kind of sticking out. So it's not the best, and the cuts were all really fucking terrible and uneven. You can probably see some of the unevenness, but I finally bought some better materials that's going to help so much more, because the way I was trying to go about this was so fucking asinine. I can't even tell you guys. It really was. So I bought some better materials to be able to sew better. Oh yeah, this part's like... fucked up. So I bought some better materials to better cut the fabric more evenly and blah, 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 blah. So I have enough to make another one, so I imagine that one will look much better because this was like trial pillowcase number 1, but all around, I'm pretty excited about it, and I think it came out relatively well. Yeah, you can totally see the unevenness. It is not all too good, but it's still good. It is happy pillowcase because I made it with my own hands. Okay, you guys, that is it for this Tuesday, Wednesday. I have to remember what day it is. I will catch you guys in the rest of the week. Doing whatever I do in the rest of the week. Bye. Feel my power.